would you do if you found yourself 40, divorced and broke? Picture this. Meet Jim, 40 years old and currently standing on the precipice of a midlife crisis. Not so long ago, he was a man with a relatively content life, but today he's facing a storm of uncertainties. Jim's life took a sharp turn when he separated from his wife. They were married when they were both 30, she a woman of ambition, a working professional. They had their differences, as all couples do, but their differences grew into chasms. A divorce was inevitable, but what wasn't inevitable was the financial drain that followed. The cost of divorce wasn't just emotional for Jim, it was a blow to his bank account. A blow so severe it left him entangled in a web of debts, and if the financial burden wasn't enough, Jim had another demon to battle: alcohol. His addiction, like a leech, drained him, not just monetarily but emotionally too. Every bottle he drained was a step further into the abyss of financial instability. Then there was the global pandemic, an unwelcome guest that overstayed its welcome, affecting lives, livelihoods, and in Jim's case, career growth. It was like a blockade, halting his progress, leaving him in a state of professional stagnation. So here's Jim, 40 years old, divorced and broke. Half of his salary vanishes before he can even blink, swallowed by the monstrous jaws of his loans. He's struggling to find a partner, grappling with his addiction and battling the consequences of a global crisis. Yet in the face of all this, Jim is not a man to crumble. He stares back at life, his gaze unwavering, his spirit unbroken. He chooses to face life with positivity, an optimism that shines bright in the darkest of his days. Despite the uncertainties, Jim chooses to face life with positivity, but the crisis is real. Let's rewind back to when Jim was 30 and just married. Imagine a young, vivacious and ambitious Jim, and his life was just beginning to take shape. He was in a relationship with a woman who was also a working professional. They were both driven, career-oriented individuals, and they decided to tie the knot at the age of 30, envisioning a life full of shared dreams and mutual support. However, as they stepped into the realm of matrimony, they soon found that their opinions clashed more often than they harmonized. While they both respected each other's individuality, their differences in perspectives began to create a rift between them. They started to realize that they were two very different people who wanted different things from life. Despite their best efforts to bridge these differences, they found themselves growing apart. Their marriage, which was once a safe haven for both of them, gradually turned into a battlefield of differing opinions. Love and understanding were replaced with arguments and misunderstandings. The situation became so unbearable that they decided to part ways. The divorce wasn't just emotionally draining, it also took a massive toll on Jim's financial stability. He had to pay a hefty amount as the cost of the divorce. This left him heavily in debt with the bank. The irony of the situation was not lost on him. The financial burden was overwhelming and he found himself struggling to keep his head above water. The pressure and the loneliness led Jim to seek solace in alcohol. What started as an occasional indulgence soon spiraled into an addiction. He was not only spending a significant portion of his income on alcohol, but it was also affecting his work performance and overall health. Life was not being kind to Jim. He was hit hard by the realities of his decisions and the circumstances he found himself in. His dreams were shattered, his finances were in disarray, and his addiction was taking a toll on his health and career. The divorce left Jim in debt and led to his addiction to alcohol. Fast forward to the present, Jim is now 40 and dealing with more than just financial problems. Life after divorce for Jim hasn't been a cakewalk. He's like a ship in the storm, battling wave after wave of challenges. First among them is his struggle to find a partner. Getting back into the dating game has been tougher than he'd imagined. The digital age of dating feels alien to him, and the fear of another heartbreak often keeps him up at night. Then there's the elephant in the room, his financial situation. The aftermath of his divorce left him with a mountain of debt. Each month, half of his salary vanishes into thin air, siphoned off to repay his loans. He's caught in a hamster wheel of debt, and it feels like there's no end in sight. His career, once a source of pride and stability, has also hit a roadblock. The IT industry, once booming, has been hit hard by factors beyond his control. The global pandemic and economic downturn have resulted in a freeze on promotions and salary increments. In fact, job security itself has become a luxury. Jim's struggle with alcohol addiction has added another layer to his financial woes. The cost of treatment and the impact on his work have been significant, but he's fighting, one day at a time, to regain control. But it's not all doom and gloom. Despite the storm raging around him, Jim holds on to a beacon of hope. He's tackling each problem head-on, refusing to let his circumstances define him. He's chosen to face life with a positive attitude, to find joy in the little things, to keep moving forward. Jim's story is a testament to the human spirit's resilience. It's a reminder that we all have the strength to overcome the adversities we face. Yes, life has dealt him a tough hand, but he's playing it the best way he knows how. But despite all these adversities, Jim remains positive. Can Jim turn his life around despite his circumstances? This is the question that hangs in the air, a palpable tension. It's a daunting task, no doubt, but Jim is not one to back down. In the face of adversity, he's decided to take control where he can. One of the first steps in his journey was to tackle his alcohol addiction. It had been a crutch, a way to escape from the harsh realities of his life. But Jim realized that it was only exacerbating his problems, leading him further into debt and despair. He sought help, attending anonymous support group meetings and working diligently to stay sober. It's a daily struggle, but each day he chooses to remain alcohol-free. He's taking back control of his life. But that's not all. Jim's financial difficulties were a constant source of worry, a shadow that loomed large over his life. He decided it was time to confront this as well. He sought the help of a financial advisor, someone who could guide him through the complexities of his debt and help him establish a clear, manageable plan to get back on track. It was humbling, to say the least, but also empowering. For the first time in a long time, Jim could see a path forward, a way out of the darkness, and finally, his career. The IT industry had been hit hard by the pandemic and other global factors, and opportunities seemed scarce. But instead of being disheartened, Jim chose to see this as an opportunity. He began exploring new avenues, upskilling and diversifying his portfolio. He was open to change, open to the possibility that his future might look different than he'd imagined, but could still be fulfilling and successful. So can Jim turn his life around? It's a monumental task, fraught with challenges and setbacks, but Jim is resolute. He's taking steps, making changes, and most importantly, he's not giving up. He's facing his midlife crisis head-on with courage and determination. It's not easy, but Jim is determined to succeed. What can we learn from Jim's story? It's a tale as old as time, a narrative of trials and tribulations and the quintessential midlife crisis. Jim, an ordinary man, found himself caught in the relentless whirlwind of life's uncertainties. A failed marriage, financial debt, and a stunted career growth due to unforeseen global crises led him to the edge of despair. But Jim's story is not a tale of defeat. Rather, it's a testament to the enduring human spirit. Jim's journey underscores the importance of facing life's challenges with a positive outlook. Despite being bogged down by debt, a broken marriage, and a stagnant career, Jim never let the weight of his problems crush his spirit. He chose to face the storm head-on with a smile on his face and hope in his heart. From Jim, we learn that it's not about the challenges we face, but how we choose to respond to them. We can either let our problems define us, or we can rise above them, and Jim chose the latter. His story also highlights the importance of seeking help when needed. Jim was not alone in his struggles. He had friends, family, and professional resources available to him. By reaching out, he was able to find the support he needed to navigate through his financial and personal troubles. From his struggles with alcohol addiction, we learn about the dangers of using substances as a coping mechanism and the financial and health implications that come with it. It's a stern reminder that quick fixes often lead to long-term problems. And finally, Jim's story is a powerful lesson in perseverance. Despite the odds stacked against him, Jim never gave up. He continued to work, pay off his debts, and strive for a better future. So what's the takeaway from Jim's midlife crisis? It's that adversity is a part of life, but it doesn't have to define our lives. It's about facing challenges with positivity, seeking help when needed, and never losing sight of our goals, no matter how tough the journey gets. Jim's story is a testament to the human spirit's resilience in the face of adversity.